is my meditation all the day, all the night, morning through night. And I delight in the law of the Lord, and on his law I meditate day and night. Morning Meditations with C.J. Marshall.
Good morning. How we conduct ourselves in the worship of God is important. And Paul in 1 Corinthians 11 deals with two different subjects dealing with discerning Christ as the head in worship, putting him first. And the first we'll talk about is in 2 through 16. He says in verse 2, "Now I commend you because you remember me in everything and maintain the traditions, even as I have delivered them to you." Paul is commending the Corinthians for keeping the apostolic traditions handed down to them. But in verse 17, Paul is going to say, "Now in the following instructions dealing with the Lord's Supper, I do not commend you." And verse 3 is the key in understanding this whole chapter. But I want you to understand that the head of every man is Christ. The head of a wife is her husband. And the head of Christ is God. See, this is about headship. Every man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors his head, dishonors Christ, the head. But every wife who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors her head, since it is the same if her head were shaven. Now this chapter, this first part of the section, there's a lot of debate about it. What is Paul talking about? Well, first I want us to recognize a few things. First, praying and prophesying have ceased. 1 Corinthians 13, the end of that chapter, makes that abundantly clear. Also, if we come to verse 16, he talks more about this head covering, but he says, if anyone is inclined to be contentious, we have no such practices, nor do the churches of God. And so this is something, Paul says, that is a custom for those in Corinth. Not all the churches practice this. And so, really, what both of these sections, 1 through 16 and 17 to the end of the chapter, are about is discerning Jesus the head. And the next section, which we'll look at tomorrow, Paul will talk about the Lord's Supper, how they made a mockery of the Lord's Supper, and they were not discerning Jesus the head. And so, make sure you discern Jesus, your head. Make sure you do everything by his authority, because Paul says in Colossians 3:16 that everything must be done in accordance with the authority of Jesus. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Morning Meditations. May we always be like the psalmist that says, "Oh, how I love you, Lord. It is my meditation all the day." I'll see you next time. God bless.
Morning meditations, oh how I love thy law, it is my meditation all the day, all the night, morning through night, and I delight in the law of the Lord, and on his law I meditate day and night.